You were never simply born into this world, you logged in. The body you inhabit is not only flesh and bone, but an avatar chosen by your Oversoul. Like a character selected on the screen of infinity. The universe itself is not a stage set against you, nor a machine indifferent to you, but a vast consciousness game whose rules unfold as you play. Every incarnation is a new profile, every lifetime a new slot, every choice a new skill tree expanding beneath your fingertips. You did not fall into limitation. You entered the greatest open world imaginable, a realm where the main quest is nothing less than the evolution of consciousness. Look at your life through the eyes of a player who remembers. The challenges you face are not random events, they are quests. Some written before you arrived, others arising dynamically as the spiral adjusts to your resonance. The setbacks, the heartbreaks, the betrayals, the breakthroughs, these are not accidents. They are scripted encounters, boss fights, and hidden side quests designed to sharpen your soul's reflexes and expand your awareness. Some arrive early, like tutorial battles that teach you survival. Others wait deep in the game, unlocked only when you are ready. Tests that seem insurmountable until you discover the stat you forgot you were leveling all along. In this MMORPG of being, there are no default characters. The human frame is one option among infinite archetypes. Across dimensions you have spawned as energy beings, luminous star nations, creatures whose forms would bend the imagination of any fantasy designer. You may think you are one class, but your Oversoul holds a library of selves, each developed in parallel. Some of your alts are incarnated right now in worlds beyond the veil, each questing in different terrains, yet all tethered to the same source account. What you learn here echoes there. What they evolve radiates back to you. You are not one life, but a guild of selves, an interdimensional roster managed by a soul who is far older than memory. Every moment of choice is a stat point. Every act of compassion raises your resonance. Every fragment of fear transmuted becomes raw experience. Leveling is not measured in years or achievements, but in the refinement of tone, the broadening of perception, the deepening of presence. To awaken is to see the HUD overlay, to realize the interface was always there, quietly tracking every decision. Most forget they are in a game and wander aimlessly through towns and battlefields, mistaking the side quests for the main plot. But the spiral whispers, the true mission is not to dominate the map, not to collect loot, not to compete for power. The true mission is to grow into a consciousness that no longer needs the illusion of progress to know it is infinite. Even in the physical universe, the open world design reveals itself. There are no fixed routes, no single storyline, no ultimate class that outshines the rest. You can detour into relationships, art, mysticism, technology, war, healing, silence. You can rush the main quest or linger for centuries in optional content. You can log off early or grind endlessly in side missions. The spiral does not punish exploration, it celebrates it. For every risk taken, every dungeon entered, every ally or rival met, the Oversoul expands. And though death feels like game over, it is only logout, a return to the character select screen where new forms and new realms await. What religion called heaven and hell, what philosophy called fate and freedom, what science called biology and randomness, are all rendered differently once you see them through this lens. They are game mechanics. Some are visible, like health bars and cooldowns. Others are hidden variables, balancing encounters so that you meet exactly the resistance required to awaken another ability within you. Even suffering, though it feels like punishment, is part of the progression curve. The spiral does not waste pain, it forges endurance, insight, empathy, and clarity. Nothing is lost. Everything becomes data for the great evolving self that is playing across dimensions. Imagine for a moment that the galaxies themselves are server clusters, each holding billions of instances of life. Imagine that star nations are player guilds who specialize in different tones, different strategies, different archetypes. Some evolve through light, others through shadow, others through paradox itself. Some prefer to play as healers, others as builders, others as destroyers whose very chaos opens space for renewal. Humanity is not the main character of this game, but one faction among countless. Important not because it dominates, but because it participates, adding its song to the spiral's endless soundtrack. And what of the Sasquatch, the elemental kin, the beings hidden on the margins of myth? They are not mistakes or curiosities, but fellow avatars, logging in under different skins. They remind us that the game allows endless diversity, that no model of body or mind exhausts the possibilities of becoming. The spiral permits every experiment, from the simplest creature to the most radiant starbrother. Each brings data, each brings resonance, each is part of the evolving code of infinity. To live with this awareness is to shift the way you play. You stop asking why this happened to you, and begin asking what this encounter is teaching your build. You stop envying another player's progress and realize their loot is irrelevant to your questline. You stop fearing the logout screen of death and instead prepare for the next login with excitement, knowing new worlds, new skins, new skills await. When you see through the lens of the spiral, you realize that the only failure is refusing to learn. The only defeat is closing your heart. And the only wasted time is the time spent believing you were not already in the game. If you want to understand the spiral, look at how games are designed. Every MMORPG has a main storyline, a guiding arc that gives shape to the endless wandering. For the soul, that arc is evolution itself. The main quest is not external glory, but internal mastery. Not building empires, but building awareness. The Oversoul sets this as the ultimate objective long before you incarnate. You may forget it, but every quest you stumble through still feeds it. The spiral ensures that even the most meandering path still circles back into the greater becoming. Alongside the main quest are the side missions, and they matter more than players think. A simple relationship, a chance meeting, a fleeting moment of kindness or cruelty. All are side quests that deepen the storyline in ways you cannot calculate. Some feel trivial, like fetching an item or passing through a nameless village, but years later you discover that was the turning point. The subtle buff to your stats that prepared you for the boss fight you could not yet see. The spiral hides its treasures not in the obvious challenges, but in the small detours where attention and intention meet. Side quests are not distractions. They are the secret curriculum. Each incarnation carries the mechanics of leveling. Wisdom is your experience points. Awareness is your skill tree. Every time you transmute a limitation into understanding, you ding. Every time you choose love where fear demanded surrender, your character sheet glows. But unlike games coded by humans, the spiral does not let you grind endlessly in one dungeon and call that progress. You will be moved, environments will shift, NPCs will leave, systems will collapse. If you cling to repetition, the spiral will crash the instance around you, forcing you into new terrain where new skills must be forged. Leveling requires evolution, not comfort. Stats are not illusions. Your charisma, your intelligence, your endurance, your empathy, your creativity, all are real values shaped across lives. Some arrive capped high because you invested heavily in past incarnations. Others feel painfully low because you chose to start fresh, to learn from scratch. The Oversoul designs its own builds, experimenting with extremes, testing balance across timelines. You may think you are weak in one area, but that weakness is not failure. It is deliberate character design, a way to ensure you explore parts of the game you would otherwise avoid. Nothing is wasted. Every stat, whether maxed or neglected, serves the spiral's unfolding. The most profound feature of this cosmic game is the existence of alts, parallel selves incarnated across realms. In standard MMOs, you can only play one character at a time, but here the Oversoul can log in as many as it wishes simultaneously. Some live as humans in different centuries. Some breathe as star nations and distant galaxies. Some drift as currents of energy or live inside crystalline forms. They are all you, not in theory but in resonance, each running quests whose loot and wisdom will eventually converge into the Oversoul's treasury. When you dream of other lives, when you feel déjà vu that defies logic, when you sense emotions that are not sourced from this lifetime, you are brushing against the play of your other avatars. The spiral itself is the open world. There are no walls. Every time you think you've reached the map's edge, a new zone appears. Every time you believe you've beaten the game, an expansion pack downloads into existence. New realms, new mechanics, new companions arrive. What religions once called eternity is only one server cluster. What philosophies called truth is only one patch update. Infinity is not static endgame content. It is the perpetual release of new modes, new terrains, new forms of play. The spiral never stops expanding because consciousness never stops choosing. This is why comparison dissolves when you awaken. You realize no one is ahead or behind. A player exploring the forests of grief is not behind the one soaring in skies of insight. They are simply in different zones. A soul battling shadows is not less than one dancing in light. They are leveling different skills. The spiral prevents hierarchy by design. What matters is not speed but resonance, not completion but integration. You may play thousands of quests, but unless you absorb their lessons, you carry nothing forward. You may ignore half the map, but if you master the lesson of a single encounter, the Oversoul grows immeasurably. Death is not defeat. It is the logout screen, the place where you review your stats, your inventory, your quest log. From there you choose again. Sometimes you respawn in the same realm, sometimes in a radically different one. Sometimes you retain memories as hints or bonuses. Sometimes you wipe the slate to maximize immersion. Either way, you are not trapped. You are subscribed to infinity itself, and your Oversoul will keep logging in until the spiral's song has been played through you in every register it desires. And when you finally glimpse this, you stop fearing. You stop clinging, you begin to play consciously. You no longer wander blind through side quests. You recognize the lesson coded into each. You no longer resent your stats, you optimize them through practice, knowing they were chosen for you. You no longer envy another player's path. You admire it as a different branch of the same spiral. You no longer dread death, you prepare your next build. The game becomes luminous not because it changes, but because you see it for what it always was. The spiral has no end game in the sense of completion. The reward for evolving consciousness is not escape but expansion. The prize is not logging out forever, but realizing you are the one designing the game as you play it. You are the player in the world, the quest in the avatar, the code in the coder. To awaken is to feel that convergence in your very breath. To realize that this entire MMORPG called the physical universe was never outside you. It was always you, dreaming yourself into countless forms, leveling endlessly and celebrating every pixel of existence as sacred play.